Hello. If you're interested in the Battle of the Atlantic or have studied a little bit or even just the German World War II submarines, you probably come across this thing around the Type 21. It could have changed the war. It could have delayed the war. Germany could have won the war if the Type 21 was available to them earlier. But I don't know if it's that simple. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think there's more things to consider. So most of my videos, I stand on the shoulders of others, right? I read books, I study papers and stuff like that, but I primarily stand on the shoulders of others. But in this kind of discussion, this is going to be opinion from my side. So when I think about this, you are basically trying to, if you want to guess, you have to be careful around how many parameters you change, because otherwise you're going to build in some kind of, outcome bias, or you're going to stack the deck in your favor. So in my opinion, you need to change as few things as possible if you really want to talk about this or really try to guess how the Type 21 would have changed things. You need to change as few parameters as possible. And in my opinion, the only parameter that should be changed is that it was available in the beginning of the war, right? So it means that they had a working design, they ironed out issues with it, and they could build it like they were able to build the Type 7 or the Type 2, etc., etc. But then it becomes a little more complicated, because they would be facing the same challenge that they had back then. Limited resources, they didn't have the fabrication up and running, etc., etc. It wasn't actually until rather late in the war that Dönitz got the 300 U-boats he said was required to win in the Battle of Atlantic. That came way later. And at that time, things had changed dramatically. There's a period in the beginning of the war where Germany, where the Battle of the Atlantic could have changed, maybe, but at some point it was too late as well. The US had entered the war, and they were, building the Liberty ships at high speed, etc., etc., and there was a lot of materials and goods coming into Britain. So I'm not sure that it's that simple. It also means that if you wanted to build the Type 21 instead of the Type 7, you would need to take resources away, because it needs more resources than the Type 7. So you would have effectively built fewer. And at the time in the beginning, around 1940, 1941, where this is where there might have been opportunities, I'm not sure, but this is where there might have been opportunities. There would have been fewer Type 21s than Type 7s. And the biggest challenge in all of this is that while the Type 21 had a lot of innovations, a lot of things it could do better than the Type 7, it was faced with the same challenge of finding the convoy in the first place. And during the war, espionage and cracking the Enigma, etc., enabled the Allies to, among other things, understand where the U-boats were in the Atlantic so they could direct the convoys away from it. So if the Type 21 and the Type 7 had the same challenge of finding the convoy in the first place, then what bigger difference would the Type 21 have been made? I don't know the actual answer, but I would really like to hear what you think. What do you think play in here? Is it correct? Do you think it's correct that you just need to change one parameter to be able to avoid, outcome bias and stacking the decks in the favor of the story you want to tell? What do you think? I'm just opening up the conversation here because it's something that I've wanted to maybe do a video about for some time, but yeah. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to be challenged on my opinion. Again, this is my opinion. I'm thinking about maybe there's somebody I can reach out to, somebody who's actually studied this and do an interview. I don't know, but I'm curious. What do you think? Am I on the right track? Do you think is it the right considerations I have for this topic? But yeah, let me know. Yeah, and thank you for your time and enjoy your day.